work in foster care and things like that. They ask you about your children. They want to interview your children, see how your children are, how they turned out, where they life with, what type of upbringing they had. Well, unfortunately, out of her 7 children, the first one ran away at a very young age. The second one, he stayed home to 18 and went to school. Then Zaya's mother, she has had some difficulties in life and ran away at 13. Then the next child ran away at 16. Then the next child left at 17 or 18. And they just all have been going through some triumphs in their life that we feel they would have never had to go through if they had had better parenting. This is one reason why my father, my father and my grandmother tried to help Annette when she was young. And she wasn't receptive to the help that she received. My grandmother and father got her 11 years old. She was pregnant. My grandmother helped her get a HUD home, pay for attorneys to help her get her baby because he ended up becoming a ward of the state because she was so young. And Annette just continued to be promiscuous and things like that. But she was a victim of a lot of trauma herself. So her children, they have some issues too. Everybody got their problems, but it's to her daughter in his custody at that time. He had the child, and we had to go get the baby because he got arrested. So I was looking him up to see what he got arrested for. Then it popped up his Otis information saying that he was a sex offender and had sexually assaulted a child under the age of 13. And I looked at Shannon and I was like, Shannon, he's a sex offender. Yeah, he said the girl lied. I'm like, it says the girl was 13, and then I did the math on his age. I said he was 24. So it ain't no lie there. Yeah, but he did his time. And I'm like, nah, nope. I was like, you need to leave him alone. Over the course of the years, I would tell her, you need to leave him alone. He was not good to her. He did not treat her well. He did not teach the children well at all. He fathered them. He created them, but he was not a father figure that I would have tried to hang on to for the kids. But anyways, I looked on the sex offender registry and saw that he was not on there. So I called, and that's when they went after him. And eventually, maybe about 6 months later, he had to report. They registered him, and he ended up on the sex offender registry.
So he was supposed to be on the registry the whole time.
The whole time. And this was like 12 years ago. But get this. His last report is 2019. He hasn't reported for his sex offender registry since 2019. So he probably wasn't reporting it very often in between those times either.
Yeah. So you said he fathered some children. So
you're 22 for her second daughter's birthday. And most of the children, pretty much all the children were at the house, the grandchildren. There was one little girl who was Annette's other sister's daughter was there. Now, this child had never been around Jarvis alone before. I think she might have been at the birthday party or something, an adult birthday party, but it was at a hall. But she was at Shannon's home, and this young lady was so afraid. Shannon's telling me this. She ran upstairs, frantic and afraid and scared, and wanted to go home and wanted to call her mother because Jarvis touched her inappropriately while she was in the basement playing with the puppy. While this little group, now Jarvis was on a game, he wasn't thinking about going up there with Shannon or nothing. Shannon says all of a sudden, while she's up there, she's trying to calm this little girl down and talk to her. Jarvis comes and knocks on the door and says, what's wrong with her? And I said, Shannon, why are you calling me? Is he dead or is he in jail? No, he left. What you mean he left? Call the police. Let them know where he's going, what car he's in.
Right.
Well, I'm about to take her home, then I'm gonna call my mama. What? So I called her back like maybe 30 minutes later. Like, did you call the police? No, my mama said bring the kids home tomorrow morning. She gonna talk to them. I'm like, no, y'all don't need to talk to them. You need to contact the police. She did not contact the police. I found out later the police were never contacted. The next day when I called Shannon, I talked to her. She said my mama talked to them and said the kids ended up telling us they lied. They was mad because he wouldn't give them no money. So I called Annette and I said, Annette, are you guys going to call the police? She said, yes, we're handling. I'm going to call the police. So I left it alone. Like, she going to call the police. Shannon assured me that the police had been called. They were involved. There was an investigation going on. All of this. This was in February 22. Well, in April of 22, I called Shannon in a lie. The police were never called. The children were not receiving counseling. Nothing had happened. So I went to the Clinton Township Police and I told them that I wanted to make a report. They told me I couldn't make a report because I didn't have enough information about the child who actually accused him of the sexual abuse. I said, but the other children also accused him of sexual abuse. They said, well, they didn't happen that night. And I'm like, she said it would probably be best for you to call CPS. So I called CPS and I told Shannon I called CPS. I said, if y'all didn't call, I told you to call the police. I told you to get the kids help. You didn't do it, so I'm calling CPS. I'm not only you, but I'm calling them on your mama too. Because it happens, whatever's happening at your house is most likely happening at your mother's house. They never called. And then that's when Kiwana got involved. I didn't, my husband knew what was going on. And a few other people who knew Shannon because she had told them stories. But this is how Kiwana got involved. So I'll let Kiwana tell what happened on her end.
So then I end up going over there to drop off Neziah some clothing. And once I got there, Shannon pulled me to the side and said, I gotta tell you something. And I go, okay, what's going on, little cuz? And she said, that Janelle and called Protective Services on me and lied and said that Jarvis was doing something to the kids. I said, what? What do you mean she called Protective Services to say Jarvis was doing something to the kids? How would that come about? So that's when she went to tell me, it was a party. And she explained that what happened at the party and that they ended up questioning children and her daughter along with Neziah, along with my other little cousin, which I've never met, had expressed to her that Jarvis offered them monies to do things inappropriately. That Jarvis offered them monies to do things inappropriately. She said, however, she found later on that her daughter was lying. And I said, Shannon, kids don't lie about stuff like that. But a child not going to come and tell that something like that happened